with us. In case you just joined us, this is DayBreak Extra on Trust TV. We've been having a very interesting take on the topic of cyberbullying, and many Nigerians have heard their voices and their position on what cyberbullying is doing to our society. It is a global phenomenon, and we're trying to look at it from the Nigerian perspective. Joining us now is a professional, a coach, Mr. Tosin Odedele. He's a coach with certifications in emotional intelligence and anger management. You talk about square peg in a square hole. Who best to talk about this conversation than someone who understands emotional intelligence and anger management? All of which I think is a big deficit in Nigeria at the moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Tosin, for coming on the program. It's good to see you. Let me just get your perspective on this idea of cyberbullying, especially from the perspective of social media consumption. Okay, so of recent, there's an increase in the trend of cyberbullying, especially on social media, with respect to people wanting to project their inadequacies, project their feelings, project their ideas on people. We are having a situation where people are almost wanting to force others to accept their own belief and positions. And the moment you seem not to want to do that, then you just see everybody coming after you and all of that. So when we talk about cyberbullying, okay, basically it's a situation whereby you are seeming to harass or defame or harm the other person as a result of your own behavior in the cyberspace. This is something that actually needs to be addressed because it's really becoming an issue. Yeah, as I did say, it's a global phenomenon, right? Trolling is the word that many people in the West usually use, right? Give me an understanding of how it became a thing and what perhaps is driving it right now in our society. Okay, so I'd like to come from the Nigerian perspective. One of the things that have actually heightened cyberbullying in Nigeria or in the Nigerian cyberspace is the fallout of the election. Okay, and trolling or cancelling, as the case may be, is a situation whereby people don't agree with a particular ideology. People seem to say that if you're not taking a position with us, okay, then we don't want to have anything to do with you. Okay. Us versus them. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. So, and like I said, it's more evident in the Nigerian cyberspace as of today because of the fallout of the election. People supporting a particular party or candidate and the others not. And, you know, and it's not a case of if you're not with us, okay, and you're not fighting the cause that we are fighting, then you're not for us, and we don't want to have anything to do with you. And every other thing that you're doing, whether it's right or wrong, I don't want to know. I don't want to believe it. I don't want to accept it. For as long as you're not agreeing with my position, for as long as it makes sense. Exactly, then we all just go all out and then come against you and all of that. So for the Nigerian cyberspace, as of today, the fallout of the election is one of the major cause of cyberbullying. I mean, in some cases, we've seen situations where you see, say, primary school, secondary school, girl or boy, you know, committing suicide because of bullying. I mean, before, just like earlier, Abdullahi mentioned that it was physical because there was no social media. So when you go to school, you meet your bullies there. But right now, it's on the social media space. You put something and then someone just attack you, maybe for the way you're dressed and all that. And this kind of thing leads to suicide. So as a professional coach, you know, dealing with, definitely you must have come across one or two situations of, you know, concerning bullying or depression. People run into that. What's your take on that? And how can, you know, this menace be curbed in the society right now? Okay, so I'll give two examples. Okay, one very popular and then one that personal that I'm actually aware of at the moment. So the very popular one is the case of something that was reported, I think, about 2 weeks or last month, thereabout, of the American teenager that committed suicide because I think 3 Nigerians were bullying him online because they had his nudes and all of that, and they were telling him you had to send money and all. And when he couldn't, he committed suicide, and then the FBI started investigation and then got those guys to the US to answer their cases. Now, there's also a current case that I'm handling right now of a Nigerian in Ghana who is also a victim of the same situation, okay? And then they are bombarding him consistently, and they're threatening to send out all those pictures to his social media contact and all of that. So one of the fallout of cyberbullying is depression, like you said, okay? There are two things that I would always say when it comes to you not being a victim of cyberbullying. Number one is you need to be very, very intentional and careful about your digital footprint. Okay, now digital footprint basically is your activity online, okay? We see a lot of people that throw caution to the wind as of today and are very, very careless with their activity online, the things they send, the things they tweet, the things their interaction and all of that. It's important that you are very, very cautious, okay? It's important that you are not all trusting, especially with the things that you share online with people, because you really don't know the motive of the person that you're actually sharing or having that conversation with, okay? That's one side of it. The other side of it is that you never can tell what the person is capable of when the person feels stung. Perhaps you have decided not to give in to the person's demand or something, and then the person now decides to now use whatever interaction or conversations you've used in the past against you to now start bullying. I mean,
we have so many people expose personal conversations in their DMs just because they want to take somebody down. But I also remember in the early days when it was all just fun. You're happy to make friends with people from different parts of the world.
Yes.
In fact, it wasn't so personal anymore. It doesn't matter whether you've known somebody. Until the categorizations come, you begin to connect or reconnect with your old school friends and things like that. In fact, in the early days, fighting on Twitter, for instance, used to be like fun. Because I remember Nigeria versus Kenyans or Ghanaians, and we're making all of these things, right? But now, like you did say, politics has come into it. And right now, it is the #1 qualifier. People want to know, where are you leaning to? Are you an obedient or are you an APC person? Are you a PDP person? That is the only qualifier, especially in the Nigerian context. And it doesn't matter what your position is on other things.
That makes sense or not.
Right? How do we address this, especially looking at how it is diminishing our social fabric as Nigerians? Because this division is real. Whether it's because of the politics or whatever, there are certain fault lines that we have to deal with as a society. What can we do to stop it? As Sumaya rightly pointed out, what do we need to do to stop the bleeding and to stop it from getting out of control? Because I have a feeling that that's where we're heading to.
Yeah, so two things that needs to be done. First and foremost, I like to tell people that it's important that you develop a very, very healthy and good self-esteem about yourself. What that does for you is that you are not pandering to people's opinions or wanting people's acceptance,
validation
right, for whatever it is that you're doing out there. For as long as you have a conviction, for as long as you know that what you're doing is right, for as long as you know that what you're doing aligns with your values and who you are, your personality, do what you need to do and stand by it, irrespective of whatever anybody feels or thinks, okay? That's very, very, very important, because for as long as you don't have a very healthy self-esteem, when people start trolling you, when people start canceling you, when people start coming after you, okay, it's very, very easy to give in. It's very, very easy to, and that's why you see when somebody tweets and then they start bullying, he quickly deletes because he can't take that pressure,
even if he actually believes in what
he has done, okay?
I mean, recently we saw the actor Yul Edochie making a comment about it. He said, right now people are scared of the cancel culture.
Yes.
That even when somebody posts something and you air your opinion on the comment section and people start hitting you, then you rush to delete it, even though that thing might make sense,
Yes.
And does it reinforce that behavior, that people know that you're reacting to them, so they keep doing it?
Yes, because people know that when the pressure comes in, you cave in and you likely give in to what it is that they're asking you to do. So that is one of the reasons why they do that. That's why the cancel culture actually gains ground, because they know that once they come out en masse after you, okay, you give in to what that demand is, and that is what they truly want to achieve. But for as long as you have a healthy self-esteem and you know that what you have said or what you have done, you can stand by it, and you stand by it, okay, irrespective of whatever anybody feels or whatever anybody says, okay, then you can be able to overcome cyberbullying. The other thing that we also need to take into full enforcement is the cybercrime law. Cybercrime Act, which was passed in 2015. Okay, and I believe a lot of people don't actually know that a law exists that can actually protect you against cyberbullying. Okay, the law is very, very clear. If you have an established case of somebody that has harassed you, defamed you, done something to harm you or violate you, okay, you can actually take it up against the person. There are provisions in the law for that. Okay, it's either the person pays a fine or the person is jailed for up to 3 years, and the person can pay maximum of about 10 million or thereabout as a fine. Okay, if you can establish that case. So until people now begin to take legal steps, legal action against people, and people see that, oh, if I do this and I get on the wrong side of the law, I'll pay the fine for it, they begin to rethink their actions in the cyberspace.
And let's try to break down the categorization, because I know there are certain contents that are directly by design supposed to harm you. Attack on your personality or on your integrity or on your person or on your family, for instance. And then there are those jokes, those takes that are part of the stereotypes, right? We have several names that have been bandied around, whether it's you post a picture of yourself or a picture of your daughter or a picture of your wife or your girlfriend or things like that, and people start to make fun of some of those things. Now, do you think that also falls under this particular act that can protect you? Because at some point it's just people teasing you, which is something that we've grown used to as a race, isn't it?
which is so unhealthy.
If you really grew up in Nigeria and you went to
I mean, I know of a time when yabbing is a thing.
Yes,
when you put it made me start like doubting my culture. Like, what?
Maybe some people are just overly sensitive. I get that, but where is the line to say, okay, this is just a harmless tease that if it's not for you, it's not for you, but it's nothing illegal, so to say.
And with that code, that act actually protects.
So that's why I said if I can establish that whatever it is that you have said or have done, okay, has actually caused me harm, has violated me, or has defamed me, or has stained my integrity. If I can establish
does hurting your feeling count?
Hurting your feeling doesn't count. It doesn't count. Right. But it counts to the point whereby it now is leading you to depression, okay, or it's making you suicidal, okay. So
that's consistency.
Yes. So it at that particular point in time, it does count, okay. But if it's just a case of, oh, well, it makes me sad or it doesn't make me feel good, if I can't establish it enough, okay, then maybe there might not be a case. But to the point whereby I can say that what this person tweeted at me or what the comment that this person made actually made me suicidal or got me depressed or whatever it is, and I can establish that, I have a case and I can take it up.
So, insulting someone for having a big head or for being this color or that color might offend their feelings, but then again, it's a very thin line.
But when it keeps going, we know it hits hard because it just like he mentioned, you need to gear up and take your self-esteem from here to here so that things like this don't hit you. But at some point, you're human.
Yes.
When someone keeps poking you the same way continuously,
and I suppose talking about emotional intelligence and anger management, how do you develop a thick skin? Because even these social media platforms, they give you the avenues to stop certain things that you don't want to see. You can block someone, you can unfriend someone, unfollow someone, if you don't like their content, if you don't like their responses, if you don't like...
You can even report them.
You can report it also. I mean, do you think Nigerians are taking full advantage of the tools available to them so that they can safeguard their mental health? Because we also have to factor in that idea of mental health, since we're talking about depression and all of these things.
So it's possible that, like you said, you can take action, block and all of that. But I think the point whereby people now begin to take such actions, okay, is whereby it now becomes on a large scale. Okay, so for a lot of times, people don't block handles, people don't block content, okay, people don't report handles when they feel that, oh well, it will pass, okay, but at the point whereby it now becomes something huge and all of that, that's where they begin to take those actions. But very, very key, okay, especially for people that want to go online and are very active online. It's very important that you understand what your triggers are as a person. Okay, you need to understand what your triggers are. Okay, it's those triggers that let you to determine what kind of content you want to allow on your timeline, the kind of people that you want to follow, the kind of people that you want to read their comments and all of those other things. You need to understand what your triggers are. Okay, so for some people, politics might be a trigger. So if politics is a trigger for you, you don't have any reason being on politics Twitter, okay? Yeah, because you know that definitely they will say something, you will see something, you will read something that will anger you or will piss you off or something and all of those other things. So if you know that you can't handle political tweets, okay, what you need to do is to block every content that has to do with politics, or you mute content, or you block certain handles that you know that their content are highly political. If you know that certain words trigger you, okay, it's important that you find such words and you block content that have to do with such words. So the first key thing is self-awareness, okay, being able to come to that understanding that certain handles or certain contents, okay, affect my mental health. Certain people and their position and their stance, okay, don't sit down well with me. Okay, so
we're talking about stance, you know, any little thing, it's a reason for Nigerians to attack you for being different, for thinking different, and it's a sad situation, Mr. Tosin. But you mentioned, you know, ways that you as a person, if you're being bullied, ways you can handle it, you know, find a way around it. You've mentioned the government making provisions for the act, you know, to protect or to sue people that, you know, are victims of this act. But also, what should the society do? I mean, we're talking about these people that are the bullies, that are the trolls. What should the society do to manage this situation? Because we can't keep telling the victim, okay, find a way to you know, take this thing in and forget about it. But then the other person is growing. Everything is becoming more vile. Before, even if you want to insult someone based on their beliefs or views, there's a way that you can put it. But right now, people are blunt, are hitting it hard. There is so much hate in it. So, and I know that on professional level, you know, there's the thought on that people that do this are also traumatized or have an experience, you know, that hit them. How does the society, how can we do something, you know, to give our own quota, you know, our own contribution to this matter? Okay,
so I think the key thing that needs to be done by the society, okay, is to continue to raise the awareness that people need to understand that you need to respect other people's views, you need to respect other people's positions, okay, you can't always have people to agree with you all the time, okay, on every issue that you have out there. That it's okay for people to have differing opinions, okay, and it's okay for two truths to sit side by side without affecting others. So it's an increased awareness level that needs to go out there. But I also need to put this out there that in truth, okay, we truly don't have control over how people respond, okay, to different issues. Okay, so and that's why, aside the society raising awareness, okay, it also boils down to the individual. Okay, every person must work on himself or herself. You need to be able to work on yourself to that level whereby you can control yourself. You know what emotions you don't like. You know what kind of emotions get triggered when certain people do certain things, okay, and then know how to respond to those kind of things. Because truly, you can't say how people will respond to a particular tweet or particular activity that you do online. Okay, you can't say, oh, so I'm putting out this tweet, don't come after me. They'll come after you if they have to come after you. Right. You don't have control over that.
And do you think, just before we wrap things up, what are some of those tips away from, the tools that, you mentioned that is available on some of these platforms for the much older generation? They don't have to deal with this because they don't even have to be on, on those sites for their entertainment or for their leisure time. They could, just sit around and enjoy themselves without having to be on social media, even though we're seeing, a good number of them join TikTok and all the other platforms. It used to be a Facebook thing, but now they're also on TikTok and on Snapchat. But give me your understanding of how, the much younger generation can learn from this, phenomenon that we're experiencing right now going into the future, because much of our communication now or interaction as a society is online. I mean, there are so many people that you can see today face to face. You don't have a serious conversation with them, but the moment they're online, you want to say hi, you want to, keep tabs and things like that. So social media is probably going to be around for the next, I don't know how long, but unforeseeable future is going to be around. What are some of those tips so we can navigate and turn even the political conversations that appear to be very toxic over the past few years? How do we begin to lower the temperature and sanitize the conversation to a point where let's reason with each other, let's raise our tolerance level and begin to have more civil conversations so that, we don't build this echo chamber, because you get the sense that there are people who only follow certain people who only share certain ideologies. Yes. And that in itself is not a good thing, because you're not open-minded about certain ideas. Yes. What are your thoughts about that?
The most effective way to handle this is to ensure that we are consistently putting guardrails to how we use social media and how people interact on social media. For as long as there are no guardrails, people will always...
Anything goes.
Exactly. So we need to look at how we are putting guardrails. So for example, if I'm an influencer online, I can determine who can interact with certain activities that I do online. I can put it out there to say that if you act in certain way or tweet in certain ways, I would block you, or I would do whatever I need to do just to ensure that my timeline is clean and is safe and all of that. When we have communities, and that's something that is building online. We're having communities. It's important that we continue to educate our communities that cyberbullying is a behavior that is unacceptable, that is a behavior that people should not engage in. It's important that those awareness happen at those levels, and most importantly, like I would like to advocate, it's important that that act comes alive. Because for as long as people continue to see that people are actually getting fined and going to jail, for such behaviors, it will help them think twice before acting on social media. But if you know that there's no repercussion, anything goes, you keep doing whatever you like.
There are people who have bots, Sumaya, and when the bots come for you, when they start trolling you, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Every social media handle of yours that they can find, they would use it as. And then, unfortunately, some people have this appetite for it because it appears to be like an entertainment,
which is a really sad situation. Thank you so much, Mr. Tosin Odedele, a coach and with certifications in emotional intelligence and anger management. Thank you so much for your time. For joining us.
Really appreciate the conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right, and with that, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined in by another guest. Stay with us.